Welcome back. Some breaking news coming in. The United States has resumed military help to Pakistan. This is information coming in. $450 million approved for F-16's fleet.
Now, this is coming after this decision has been reversed. The previous Trump government had frozen the aid. Biden has now resumed the fund for what it calls as anti-terror efforts. Now, reversing the decision of his predecessor, Biden administration has now approved a whopping $450 million for the F-16 fighter jet fleet program, the sustainment program to Pakistan. Let me go across to Srinjoy now. Srinjoy, good morning to you. When it comes to anti-terror efforts and equating it with Pakistan, what is the thought behind when it comes to United States reversing its decision?
Well, first of all, do you use the F-16 against terrorists? The answer is no. So why is the Americans saying that we will give F-16s to the Pakistanis to fight terror? That just makes no sense, is what I'm hearing from my sources here, that you don't use the F-16 against terrorists. Never in the history of terrorism and anti-terror work has an F-16 or any fighter plane been. That's the first thing. Then Pakistan itself has a history of terrorism. It's still on the FATF, on the grey list, something the Americans know very well. Now, Pakistan currently has about 75 to 80 F-16s. The question is, when it says sustenance program, are you giving Pakistan and the Pakistani Air Force more planes, or are you giving spare parts to ensure that these 75, 80 planes are in working order? Hearing the word sustenance suggests that it is spare parts and other things. Now, even that, America knows very well, being a strategic partner and close friend, that whenever America has given weapons to Pakistan, they have only been used for one purpose, and that is against India. Now, America should know that if ever the F-16 is actually used, it will be used against India. There can be no dispute about that. History tells us about what happened in 1965 with the Starfighter and 1971 with the Sabre and so on. It was all against India. Even then, the Americans are saying the sustenance program is necessary. We will have to see what kind of pressure India can India speak to the American State Department? Can they speak to the Defense Department? Can they the White House and see what can be done?
That's right. But there's a stark difference between the step that the Trump administration had taken when it also said that Pakistan is not a partner in its fight against terrorism, and now with Biden coming in as well. Do stay on with us. We have Major General G.D. Bakshi also joining us on the broadcast. Major General, the first major security assistance being given to Pakistan, reversing the decision that Trump had taken in 2018. How do you view it?
Look, unfortunately, we found that the Biden administration attitude to India has been very ambivalent. On the one hand, they say that India is part of the Quad. India is critical to the balancing of China's growing aggressiveness, China's growing power. They want India to be upfront. And yet it is Pakistan that gets the F-16. And Pakistan that is being given money to keep these F-16s going, and they have used it against India. They have used it against India in retaliation to the Balakot strike. It is something that can harm India. So we fail to understand this ambivalence, this dual kind of a policy of running with the hares and hunting with the hounds. Pakistan, it is now obvious to the whole world, is not at all sincere about its promises of not supporting terrorism. The Financial Action Task Force has been on its neck all this while, but Pakistan still tries to dodge. And the very fact is Pakistan has now installed the Taliban in Kabul. And the Taliban had made Ayman al-Zawahiri of the Al-Qaeda their chief state guest in Kabul. So it is very clear where their sympathies lie, what they are going to do. They are going to violate all their promises and support terrorism on their soil, and that is a very good proxy place for Pakistan to support terrorism from.
Right.
So we have
when
to...
it comes to what's been released on part of the United States saying that it was Trump who froze the aid, Biden resuming it, but for anti-terror activities and efforts, how will F-16s be used for anti-terror activities, sir?
No, this is a question that should best be addressed to President Joe Biden, because it makes a farce out of all anti-terrorist operations. Anti-terrorist operations are not conducted by F-16. They are not conducted by 155 millimeter artillery guns. They are not conducted by tanks. And yet Pakistan claims to be using all this for fighting terrorism. I mean, that is some kind of a joke. The only country that it will use it, the only target that Pakistan will employ its F-16 is against India. And this is tantamount to a hostile act. I think our government should take it up strongly with the United States as to why it is intervening on the side of Pakistan in the India-Pakistan dyad. This is a clear this thing that they are trying to be on the side of Pakistan, when Pakistan has been been the biggest supporter of terror anywhere in the world. Any terrorist incident anywhere on the globe, and you can trace those threads back to Pakistan.
Right. In fact, Pakistan has been on radar for not doing enough. We remember the statement that Hillary Clinton had made as well. But in the official statement that has been released by the United States, it says so very clearly that F-16 fleet allows Pakistan to support counter-terrorism, and for that, the United States is going to be with them.
I mean, that is not only most flawed argument, it is a bit of a, it is a bit of an insult to our intelligence. This will not stand. I mean, I think we should protest against it very strongly,
right,
so that we are clear about the United States' attitude towards us. On the one hand, they call us an ally. On the other hand, to our enemies, they give the latest of weapons. They give the wherewithal to attack India. This is an offensive
No, sir, for
weapon.
once it was actually the United States which had actually taken a stand when it comes to terrorism, but reversing such kind of a decision, how exactly will it spell out for Biden administration, sir? Thank you very much, General Bakshi, sir, for joining us. Mr. Arasan Singh is also with us on the phone line. Sir, this major security assistance which is now being gifted to Pakistan by the F-16s, how does it mean and spell out for India? Because United States says it is for anti-terror activities and anti-terror efforts that F-16s are being given.
No, arms market creates its own geopolitics. This is the reality of, the reality of the world, and we must understand that reality. And also, what General Bakshi said, that, they are, the U.S. considers us as allies. Yes, they consider you as allies, but remember, they consider Pakistan as friends. And that is what the American Constitution says, that the national interest comes first, then, the interests of allies, and then the interests of friends, and thirdly, the interest of the allies. So new geopolitics is being played. I mean, maybe the Americans are not very much peeved with our not cutting ties with Russia, because we have our geopolitical and strategic interests, which is aligned with Russia. So I mean, India has made a very bold foreign policy move as far as the Ukraine Russia crisis is concerned, or the conflict is concerned. So I think it is a part of that geopolitics, and this is all hogwash that, provided Pakistan should act against, terrorists. Pakistan is a terrorist state, isn't it? Now look at the General Bajwa. He was invited as the chief guest at the Sanders passing out parade. And these, the Brits tell you, that they give you sermons about to the whole world about fighting against terrorism. Are they really serious? I don't think so. Never. And people don't forget that has India fought a war with alongside the Americans? No. I'm talking about post World War II era. The Pakistanis have. They fought such a long war in the against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. It was all orchestrated by it was executed by Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and sponsored by the Americans. So that is the kind of bonhomie that exists between them. Now I am telling this because I consider India as an emerging power, and we have made those signs. There should be no mistaking that today the world needs you. The Russians need you, the Americans need you.
Right, sir.
Because you dominate the Indian Ocean. Because you are the fifth largest economy. So you matter to this world. You matter to this world.
Okay.
Now let's get over this, third world mentality.
That's right. The question being, Mr. Arison saying, what kind of a message is the United States giving by giving military aid to Pakistan at a time when Pakistan has not reined in any of the terror in its background? Thank you so much for joining us.